I am not the mind, not the intellect, not the memory, not the ego. Very interesting. He says, even I am not the ego. What is the ego? The I sense. Right now you'll say, I am sitting here and listening to a talk. I. This ego. This is the ego, which says I in the mind all the time. Are you the ego even? You are not. If you apply the same logic, you are aware of the ego. Because when it says I, you are aware of what is aware of the ego. In your mind right now. That's your real nature. That can never be objectified. The ego is also an object. It's a functioning of the mind. I am not the ego. Chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham. I am of the nature of pure consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. Are you with me so far? You have a question? Hold on. We'll come. Just hold on to your question. Don't forget. Hold on to your questions. We'll take time out to deal with them. Shankara at this point asks, are you with me so far? And you can imagine the students saying, yes, good. This is great. I am the immortal consciousness, neither mind nor body. Have you got what I said? They say, yes, we got it. And Shankara says, now I'm going to take it all back. You got it? Yes, you got it wrong. I don't mean one bit of it, whatever I have said till now. Shankara says in the 41st verse of Aparoksha Anubhuti, what do you gain by this? He says, nothing. This, what we have done now, is the first step, the very first step to non-duality. It is not non-duality. He points out, where is non-duality? You are some kind of awareness, that's what we are trying to say. All right, but here is the mind obviously before you, and the body, this person that I am, and the world, the vast world before me, populated by other persons, and by so many other entities in this world. How is it non-dual? It's full of dualities. It's plural. How is it Advaita? What's going on here? Shankara says, at this point if you stop, what have you, I'm translating his verse, what have you gained? It is exactly the philosophy, he says, of the logicians. Now think, in Hinduism, there are many philosophies. So there are the philosophies of the dualists. What do the dualists say in Hinduism? The dualists, there it means, the metaphysical dualist, that is, I am a self apart from the body and mind. Exactly what we were discussing. That is what the Nyaya school says of Hinduism, the Vaisheshika school, the Sankhya school, the Yoga school. They all say this, that I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am the Atman, the self, apart from the body and mind. Exactly what we are discussing right now. And Shankara says that won't do. We have to go further, deeper. Are you a consciousness? And is there something apart from you called the mind and the body and the universe? Seems to be. But we have to investigate this. If you stop at this point, I am a point of consciousness and here is my mind and body, they are apart from me, they are changing and they are without awareness, they are many, I am one, and so on. I am this unchanging, immortal consciousness. By the way, already you have reached an immortal consciousness, because if you are not subject to change, then you are not subject to birth and death. The body is born. You, the awareness, are not born. Nobody till today has seen consciousness being born. You've seen what seems to be a baby becoming conscious or becoming aware, a person waking up from sleep. That's just consciousness flooding the mind and the body. But consciousness itself being born or destroyed, nobody has seen. And logically it's impossible, because if it's not subject to change, how can it die? So we have already reached this. Why go any further? I am the immortal consciousness. That's it. It's great. Shankara says if you stop here, you have reached the position of the Sankhya philosophers who say you are a conscious entity apart from the universe. There is the whole universe. It's going on, your own body and mind, according to its own laws. You are an unchanging point of light of consciousness. I think just a couple of days ago, we celebrated the great German philosopher Leibniz, his birthday. How I know is Google gives it's Leibniz's birthday. And he was behind a lot of the mathematics which has gone into our computer science and everything, so Leibniz. Calculus. He was a deep philosopher, and he came to this conclusion that ultimately what we are, he used to call them monads. What we are, each of us really, we are not bodies, we are not minds, we are eternal spirits. And the example is like dots of light in the night sky, the stars which shine cold and indifferent eternally, not literally eternally, but in the night sky, we are like that, eternally separate from each other. We come into contact with each other only through our automatons, our bodies and persona. But really speaking, we are eternally separated consciousnesses. Monads, he used to call them. This is exactly what Shankara is saying, that you stop here, this is the Sankhya philosophy. This is not Advaita. You have to go deeper. This is step 1. Now comes step 2. It actually gets harder. Now Shankara is going to show that the entirety of the universe which you experience, and the body and the mind separate from you, the consciousness, they are not actually separate from you. You, the consciousness, and this whatever you experience, they are none other than you, they are your expressions. The objects of consciousness are not two. It is not like light shining and here I am is an object upon which the light is shining. The light is different and the object is different. That's what we think. No. Consciousness is rather like a mirror in which you see so many reflections. They had the mirror example. Now a much better example is like a computer screen. So it's a screen in which so many things appear, but all the things which appear on the screen are nothing other than the screen itself. It is what projects everything in itself. Consciousness and its objects are not separate. And that's a nice statement to make. Can you prove it? Yes, I can. Watch this. When can you say two things are separate? When can I really say, in my own experience, when can I experience two things as being separate? Two things can be said to be separate if I can experience them separately. If these two things are separate, how do I know? I can show you the paper apart from the watch. I can show you the watch independently of the paper. And I can show them together also. But because I can show them separately, you say, yeah, they exist separately. Let me give you an even better example. A person, how do you know that the person has real teeth or dentures? So normally you wouldn't know, because the person always has the teeth. You don't know whether he's wearing them or they are really part of his mouth, his jaw. The only way to know is if you suddenly go to his house and you find this old person opens the door with a kindly, toothless, grandfatherly smile, and the teeth are sitting in a little bowl in the solution there on the desk. Now you know, oh, they are dentures. They are not. They're two different entities. Usually they go together, so I don't know. We don't really know whether they're separate or not. But now I have seen them separately. They are two different entities. Are you with me with this example? Simple enough? Now apply it to consciousness and its objects, to you and everything else that you experience. The entire universe and you, the consciousness, they are two separate things if and only if they can be experienced apart from each other. It is literally impossible to do that. Can you ever experience anything apart from consciousness? The word consciousness is literally built into the word experience. There can be no experience apart from consciousness. Think about it. Everything that you have experienced in life, from the beginning till now and whatever will happen in the future, has always been in your awareness. Is it not so? Right? In you, the awareness, that's where you've experienced. Whether you see something or hear something, or smell or taste or touch, it is all in awareness. Whether you remember something, think of something, whether you understand, do not understand, desire something, achieve something, it's all in awareness. the entire universe, can it ever be experienced apart from awareness? Never. Think about it. Again, a very simple fact, but a tremendous fact. The object of consciousness cannot be experienced apart from consciousness. For experience, consciousness is absolutely mandatory. Without consciousness, no experience. It's a tremendous fact. Simple, always present to us, but we don't think about it. In that case, we have no right to speak of the object of consciousness being separate from consciousness. The world is not something out there which my consciousness goes out like a flashlight beam and experiences. No. The world is in my consciousness. Being in my consciousness, it is pervaded by consciousness. Is it something other than consciousness? No. Shankara says, it is you, the consciousness alone, with the mysterious power of Maya, which appears to be the object of consciousness. You alone appear as your world, as the world out there, as the people, even as your own body and your own mind, body, world, which we rejected earlier. Not me, not me, not me. Neti, neti, is now realized as the shining forth of me, the consciousness. I shine forth as the universe. I am one with the universe. None of these people here, none of these things here is actually different from you, the real you. If you root yourself in the body, clearly there are other bodies, other people. Clearly. Always go with experience. As I said at the very beginning, all these teachings, after understanding, listening, you must relate it back to your experience. Advaita makes the bold claim that not one thing which Advaita says is beyond your experience right now. Right now. The highest spiritual realization is not beyond your experience right now. It's right now, right here. In fact, there is a term in Kashmiri Shaiva philosophy called Pratyabhijna. It means recognition. You don't have to be illumined or enlightened or anything like that. All you need to do is recognize. It's right here. You are experiencing it. You don't recognize it. You don't recognize what you're experiencing.